So today we're walking through Electric Twin, which is our synthetic audience platform where you can deeply understand audiences, segment them up however you like, and test different content and ideas with them before you launch it in the real world. And what makes it special is that you get the results almost instantly to a really high degree of accuracy. And the way we do that is it's all built off of survey data, so we can validate against ground truth data how accurate we are and how accurate our results are. And that also lets you then segment up by whatever you like in the population. So in this example, I've been looking at generational differences in music streaming and different music consumption habits, how people discover music. And so I'm going to build out these different populations and then ask them about where they consume their music and how their discovery habits are different from each other. I've started out on a canvas where I've already built out populations for Gen Z, millennials, baby boomers, and I'm exploring their music discovery habits and where they listen to their music. And so I can very quickly run a survey. I've got these generations built in here, Gen Z, millennials, baby boomers, and I can just ask, where do you primarily listen to music? Where do you primarily... Okay, so I can see whether they listen on streaming services, radio, CDs, vinyls, live concerts. And I've run that against 3 different segments, and I'll get back the results super quickly and give you my comparison. Okay, cool, so I see some really big differences here. Gen Z, mostly on streaming services. Baby boomers skew towards radio and CD, which perhaps isn't super surprising, given what we might understand about those people. But if I want to understand even deeper, so I can go a layer deeper than that and say, let's go for Gen Z who listen on the radio, because that's a slightly strange group. So I can grab that audience and save it. And then I can go a layer deeper and I can do things like run a focus group with them. And so a focus group is just where you get a group of people, often in a room or on a video call, and you ask them questions in a conversation to try and understand the deeper reasons for their different habits or their views on things. And so we can simulate that. And so I'm going to jump into a focus group here. And I'm going to grab that group of people who are radio-loving teens, or Gen Z people who listen to the radio. And I can see who's in my group. So we have all here 18 to 24-year-olds, as you can see. They are living in Louisiana, Kentucky, Virginia, Maryland, and California, with the varying employment statuses and different living arrangements as well. So I've got a reasonable sample of people from different backgrounds, and now we can have them in a group talking to me and to each other. So now I'm jumping into a focus group with those people that were Gen Z and said that they listened to music on the radio, because slightly odd group that I wouldn't have expected. So let's build out that panel, and I can see I've got a range of people from 16 to 24 living in a range of different locations, different employment statuses, and different living arrangements. So I've got a wide spread of people, and I can get an understanding of what might be the common factors between them. So I can ask, why do you prefer to listen to music on the radio? And this is going to be a very conversational format. The personas can talk to each other, they can talk to me, and I can ask as many questions as I like, and they don't get tired. And I can dig as deep as I like and really get into the nuance of it. Okay, so it sounds like there's something to do with convenience here, and that is looking like a common theme. So people think paying for Spotify is pointless if you can just listen to it on the radio, which is free, and it's just easy, you don't have to think about it. There's a subscription on in the background at home with the kids. And if I want to direct a question to one person in particular, I can select them and say, don't you want to curate your own music experience? And this will give me the reason why somebody doesn't want to actually do that. Maybe they don't trust their own judgment on it, maybe they just like the randomness, but I can understand that. I made too many choices already, they just want the convenience. You can resample the personas before you jump into the focus group, so if you think it's a skewed sample, something like that, you can change those before you jump into the focus group. Harry, what do you want to ask people about their music consumption habits?
I want to ask the 16-year-old, I think it was P5, can you hover and have a look? 16, 17-year-old. What do they think their friends do? What do their friends do?
Yeah. So most of them are on Spotify, free version with the ads. And they're always sharing playlists and stuff. I just don't care enough to bother with myself. Radio's easier for me.
Interesting. I think that person's me.
Okay, so now I can go a level deeper and say, what about music discovery? So I'm going to rerun this with my different groups. So let's take baby boomers, millennials, Gen X, and Gen Z. Remove the original one and say, how do you primarily discover new music? Because there might be a difference here. I could imagine people listening to the radio because they like to discover new music, or doing it through curated playlists, recommendations on streaming platforms, etc. And I'm going to add live music to this because I think that was an interesting one. And I can run that survey and get the answers back super quickly. Okay, so there's quite a big difference here. So baby boomers, much less on streaming platforms, much more on the radio. And recommendations from friends or family are overrepresented in baby boomers as well. So there's clearly a difference in generation. And I'm particularly interested in the Gen Z people who discover new music through streaming platforms. So I'm going to click that group. And I really want to build an understanding of this audience. I want to understand why they are on streaming platforms to discover new music and what else about them that might be interesting. So now if I jump over to audiences, I can see all these audiences that have been created. Some of them were created before. And I can get the people who are young streaming discoverers. So these are people who are discovering their music through streaming platforms. And I can analyze this audience. And it will build me a profile of all the other things we know about them and what differentiates them from everyone else in the population. So now we're looking at the audience of people we just built, which is young streaming discoverers. So these are people who primarily discover new music through streaming platforms. And I would like to understand what else we know about them, where they consume news, where they hang out online, etc. And so I can build a profile of these people and we can see what makes them different from everyone else in the population. And so I'll run that analysis. Okay, so these are digital entertainment enthusiasts. They active music streamers, perhaps unsurprisingly in this case. They represent a segment with children under 18 at home, employed or full-time or part-time, and their preferences revolve around digital entertainment platforms rather than traditional media. They're comfortable with digital spending, and they have a preference for algorithm-driven recommendations. So if I were a media company or one of these streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, I can get a really clear idea about who these people are. And I've done it in about 5 minutes, going all the way from the start right through to a super clear picture of who the people are that I might be trying to reach with a new feature.